Hopefully you've had a good time having a few drinks. And so welcome to our PAX East 2015. Hopefully it'll go a little better than last year's PAX East. Electronic access is the place where you can spend your rec. So quite a while ago, electronic access was bought out by Original Systems, and they shut the company down. And now they just use it as a digital storefront. So that's the digital storefront that you can spend the rec credits that you you'll earn playing Arena Commander, and also later on earn playing the FPS. And so that's where if you play more, you earn the rec, and then you'll be able to get different weapons or unlock different ships without having to sort of pledge or pay for them. So it's sort of the system that we talked about that's going to allow people to just have their base ship and still try out a whole bunch of stuff in Arena Commander or try out a bunch of stuff in the FPS without having to pledge for anything extra, which is something that we wanted for the final game, and we sort of felt like we need to bring it up ahead of schedule to make sure that no one feels compelled to get an extra gun or pay for an extra gun. Not that we hate that, because it helps us make a bigger and better game, but everyone should basically play the way they want. So if they want to spend the time or they want to support the project, it's completely up to them. And you can do that at the EA store. One of the other big improvements that's in the 1.1 build, and we were hoping to release the 1.1 build today, but we still had some fairly niggly bugs. So we're probably going to be releasing it on Tuesday. So we're going to have one more day of full testing on Monday and then release it on Tuesday. What's that? All right, yeah. There's a couple of nice things which we'll show you that's going to be in the 1.1 build. One of the biggest ones, which I noticed that people already on the PTU had shown some videos of, is the new damage system that we're rolling out with 1.1. So our old damage tech was pretty cool. We modeled a whole bunch of different damage at different states, but we had discrete models for each different one of the levels. So we basically had pristine, 25%, 50%, 75%, 100% damage. And each one of those damage levels could have multiple pieces that were breaking off. And so there's a lot of work that the artists did. So in fact, to give you an idea, a base Hornet is about 15 megabytes as a pristine. And if you added on all the damage state modeling and all the LODs that come with it, it was 100 megabytes on disk. And so one of our concerns, outside of the fact that there's a lot of manual art creation, was that, with a big sort of online multiplayer game and us delivering the data over broadband, is that how much data are we going to deliver, and can we actually fit it all in memory? So even if you have a lot of CPU memory, you can get sort of holdups in the gameplay because it's shifting from normal system memory over to GPU memory. And so one of the things we thought is, okay, we're going to have to be a bit smarter about this and not have as much mesh data, because we already have a lot because the ships themselves are incredibly detailed and complicated. And they all needed LODs. They all had a vast amount of parts. So 250 meshes per ship is quite a lot. So, and that's kind of what we were doing on the old damage tech. You can sort of see the Hornet and pre-broken up into different pieces. There we go. Choose on clicking here. So the new, I know, we've got some nice videos to show. The new damage tech. So we basically procedurally model when we hit on a surface, we model whether it's a ballistic, whether it's a laser, whether it's an energy blast, whether it's an explosive blast. We have deformation, thickness, temperature, and burn in it. It's all very cool. So the actual effects are where you hit exactly on the ship you'll see. We don't need the predefined states anymore or the LODs. We basically take the pristine mesh, we have it pre-cut into all the obvious sort of breakable parts, and then everything gets procedurally modeled, and then if there's enough damage at a seam point, then we'll break off the part of the ship, which is quite cool. So here's a little video of it. But anyway, that's the damage tech in. So as you can see, if you're really good, you can write your name on someone else's ship in combat. So I think that would be the ultimate form of, I don't know, teabagging and humiliation of the other person. So I'm looking forward to seeing the first community video where someone manages to write their name on someone else. The thing's a beast, and so we have a little video for you. All right, so the next thing, it's kind of what we're here to show parts of, and will be coming out very soon, is the ground war. So first of all, we're just going to sort of give you a bit of an animation update, because one of the things that has put us slightly behind is that we decided at the end of last year to redo the skeleton and rig on our base character and add a lot more to it. So there's a whole muscle system now, and we've actually went and scanned, we went and selected a bunch of different male models and female models and scanned them. So we've actually got like real proper scan data and built them. And it took some time. It took a little more time than we thought. So we were hoping to release the FPS module right here at PAX East, but that's one of the reasons why we're going to be releasing it in 2 to 3 weeks' time, depending, because the animation side, the animation side just takes a lot of tweaking to get right. So it's one of the things we're doing. But so basically, we revamped the entire animation set for FPS. So to have a lot more sort of rifle and pistol realistic handling, right? I think there's quite a few people that back Star Citizen that have military or law enforcement experience, and and so you guys are always the first to say, no, that's not the way you handle a gun. Or so we actually went out and we actually did this in Imaginarium at the end of last year, and we had a couple of fairly badass military advisors that were there for the motion capture and doing the motions. And so, reloads and all the rest of the stuff, which I don't really have a great, we were going to show some of that, but that was part of our build problem. But there's little bits of stuff that you'll see here. But it's a lot more realistic animation set, which I think ultimately everyone's going to like. So, hopefully kick ass and all the rest of the stuff. Here's a little video we did, although we had some issues with our glitching stuff, so here we go. This sort of shows you, this was PAX Australia, and then we'll sort of cut between sort of PAX Australia and kind of where we are now. So the gun position's a lot better, the gun modeling's fairly better, I think. Let's see if we... So I thought this looked good last year, but and that's the old walk, which you could, or the old sort of semi-run where you could say, well, he's a bit stiff. So you can see him strafing left and right, and then here you'll see him moving, and his motion's a lot better. So there's more weight, there's more secondary sort of animation. We actually have a full muscle system, which there's a silly little video at the end that kind of demonstrates it, although it's fairly short. But generally, we think the animation's much better than before, which was one of the bigger complaints. And it's still got to wait. So this is a silly. That's the old mesh on the left. The guy in the middle is the new one, which has a proper deforming skeleton system. And if we go to, there you are, the red is the muscle system that you see for the different stuff that happens. So anyway, there you go. That's a quick animation update. The difference between going from here to stopping and all the rest, there's a lot of transition animations that need to happen. So that's all stuff that's going in right now. We've done all the animations. We just have to work it into CryEngine. The cover system is going to be a fully, really kind of cool cover system. You'll also be able to slide into cover and do stuff like that. The hit-death reaction, like where you get hit in different places, that's all the stuff that we're working on and finessing. We've got some pretty cool crouch movement. We've got pro movement as well. And we're also going to have sort of 3 stages of movement. So there's sort of like an off position, there's an alerted position, and there's sort of your iron sight or ADS position when sort of running around with the weapon out. We, as everything, we like to do in-fiction stuff. So interdimensional software is this, there you are. It's a little startup with a couple of folks like James Romanoff and James Van Dyke. Well, they've created their new household realistic simulator, which is called Star Marine. So, and that is available to be played in your sim pod in the hangar, of course, available from Electronic Access. There's just a quick go over the various different armors. So each side, there's 3 levels of armor. There's light armor, medium, and heavy. So this is the Marine light armor. And just as a note, all our character models, so we're working on a new sort of modular armor system. And so we're actually doing a full rework of what the armor will be for, and the base models will be for the Marines and the Outlaws. So on the first release of FPS, you're going to get these models, but not that, down the road, within a few months, we're going to be switching them out for the new future Star Citizen, which is a higher level of character modeling. So right now, we sort of feel like these are okay, but they're not good enough, and they need to be better, because everything in Star Citizen has to be as good or better than anything out there. They're not quite there yet, that's all I'm going to say. This is the light outlaw, who I think is actually the weakest. Medium, you have a medium marine outfit, medium outlaw, heavy marine, and the heavy outlaw is kind of like a fat Hellcast at the moment, I think. And then there's a selection of weapons that you have. I mean, you have a combustion pistol. This is the laser pistol, which I think you saw in the video there. The Devastator, which is electric shotgun, which I don't think anyone's shown off or used yet, but it's pretty cool. The Bearing, which is what you've seen in most of the videos, which is the ballistic sort of submachine gun. It's a laser assault rifle, which was, I think the Outlaws were using this in the demo we did in PAX Australia. There's a sniper rifle, and there's a shotgun, and a few other things. There's other various different kinds of grenades, so frag grenade, there's a sort of forced propulsion grenade, which pushes everyone back, and there's the EMP grenade, which is pretty cool because it takes out all the screens and people's HUDs and sort of disables your view if you're relying on electronic stuff. There's various different items to use, like a personal med kit to fix yourself up, personal shield, a hologram, which will dupe who you are, and a sort of, well, error denial system. Okay, so you can choose two types of, the base FPS module that gets released has two game modes. So the first one is what we demoed in PAX Australia. So it's more traditional combat, it's more like Counter-Strike or something. That's on the Gold Horizon space station. And in that, we'll have 8 versus 8 player combat. And it's Marines versus Outlaws. New battle, new weapons, armor, all the rest of the stuff. The whole environment's damageable. Disable lighting, so you can also turn the gravity off and on of the station, so that sort of changes the playing field when you're in a combat situation. And here's a little walkthrough of the environment, so you can sort of see the different locations, because we didn't get a chance to do this in PAX Australia. So you can sort of see, because it's kind of a really detailed and beautiful, fun environment that I think will be a lot of fun to blast each other in. And then the second game mode, which is the one that we're going to do live here and let people play, is Zero Gravity. So if anyone's seen Ender's Game and the battle mode, pretty much that. It's in Astra Arena. It actually is going to be 16 versus 16, up to, not necessarily has to be 16 versus 16. And basically, it's going to be something that people can use to sort of train zero-G movement mechanics and also have a sort of fun, I don't know, like in fiction. So ultimately, in the world of Star Citizen, this would be something you could form teams and compete with, just the same way that we're going to have racing competitions. So there'll be, leagues and championships and everything else like that. So it'll be kind of fun. One thing that you use is the laser pistol, which has a grappling beam on it. You'll see it in action, but basically as you go around in zero-G, you can fire out the beam and you can use it to pull yourself around. And the rules are, is the first team that immobilizes all the other members of the team or gets a player through the enemy gate. So after 1.1.1 comes out, which is the FPS module, which will be in probably by the end of this month, the next thing we're going to do, which we're going to show a preview of at South by Southwest next week, but it will be in early April, is the social module. And that's where you get to leave your hangar, walk around the planet side. In the case of the social module, it'll be Stanton, ArcCorp in the Stanton system. And that'll give you a preview of sort of interacting on a planet-side basis when you're visiting planets. So that should be cool, and we're going to demo that in a week, so hopefully you guys will like that. And then this is the sort of schedule for this year, which we've talked about before. So the first-person shooter module by the end of this month. Social module next month, we'll be delivering it. Arena Commander 2.0, which is the multi-crew stuff, where you'll be able to fly the Retaliator and the Constellation, all the rest of the stuff. That'll be sort of summertime. And the end of this year is going to be Squadron 42. So I think right now it's looking to be about 20 hours and about 70 missions in what we're releasing at the end of this year. So we've sort of decided we have this big overarching storyline, and so in sort of is a nod to the sort of Wing Commander trilogy. We're going to have this overarching trilogy of Squadron, like the story. Yeah, so it won't be Kilrathi, Vandal, but it'll be very similar. And then we're going to have the sort of very early build of the full persistent universe. There'll be a limited number of systems, but you'll be able to take off, fly, land, trade, interact, do some of the professions, not all the professions, and that'll be the end of the year. So I think that is it for me on the presentation. So